Hi everyone, welcome back to me reading the Databank for the characters. We are on the Harmony characters right now. I'll be reading Asta, Tingyun and Yukong today. First off is Asta. So Asta's character details are as follows. A fiercely inquisitive and energetic young girl, she is the lead researcher of the space station Herta. Whether it is managing opinionated staff, or courteously but firmly responding to the Intelligentsia Guild's devious demands, Asta handles it all effortlessly. After all, commanding a space station is much easier than taking over the family business. Asta is also the person that has this cute puppy, if I recall correctly, or at least takes the most care of the puppy. Character story part 1. Back when she was still a child that was already picking out her own telescopes, Asta would always hear the faint murmuring of elders praising her. She was quite fond, or quite proud, of this because she could discern the quality of the telescope's primary mirror and auto-guider with a mere glance. It wasn't until she drew within earshot one day that she learned that they were actually tutting and sucking at her. How could such a little girl manage to pick out such expensive items? Personal hobbies don't exist in the eyes of these people. All they chose to see is a pampered little princess. You like stars? Oh, I get it. You're a little girl. You all like sparkly things. Yes, I'm researching protostars at the moment. I hope to name the stars I discover after myself, just like those famous astronomers of old. Pfft, is that all? Shall we name this planet after you for your next birthday? How about 2 planets? Those are actually quite cheap. Hey, where are you going, Asta? Asta! I don't like how they are, talking down on her so much. Character story part 2. She knows that it doesn't matter whether she and her mother are reliable volunteers. People just want to see them here, that's all. After apportioning the food, the people disperse one by one, leaving behind a little boy. His right hand is wounded and his eyes are like that of a wolf as he stares at her in a way she doesn't like. Are you going to ask me to borrow money? I don't want money. I have to pay back the cost of this meal, but I don't have any money on me. Occasionally friends she never recognized would come and ask if they could borrow money from Asta. However, it's the first time she actually heard someone offer to pay her back. Her eyes widen in surprise. Listening in, her mother can't help but laugh. You're still a kid. What kind of work can you do? Fight? That's not a good job. How about this? I'll give you a job. To this day, in Asta's heart, the bill for Arlan's meal was settled the moment he said that he'd pay her back. Arlan's also one of the characters that you can pull for, if I remember correctly. He's a person of the security detail. Of the space station Herta. Character story part 3. The stars follow their own orbits, but what about humans? Can we humans ever hope to control our own destiny? A wealthy family background grants Asta the power to explore the stars, but also become her personal shackles. As she grows older, Asta's vow to become an astronomer was viewed as increasingly radical to her family. She begins to lose count of how many times she'd argued during family meetings about this very thing. Until one day, after a family meeting, a puppet girl walks in, and one of the family members who were so domineering a moment ago suddenly changes into a yes man. That's the girl! But she'd... No buts. I didn't come all this way to listen to your garbage academic reports. I'd rather listen to this girl debate with you. I want to see her on the space station within 3 days. And with that, the puppet girl walks straight out without looking back, which is one of Herta's puppets. Character story part 4. After becoming the lead researcher of the Herta space station, Asta's life is now busier than ever before. She has to manage the researcher and their differing opinions, reply to the numerous correspondence meant for Herta, constantly negotiate with the IPC, and procure equipment from various different sources, but at the same time she's experiencing the greatest freedom she'd ever known. Deploy the Nul Iman telescope in the second equipment bay set it to 100x astro units, and begin observation of the pre-nebular core in front of us. Pay close attention to particle density. If you discover any superdense structures, commence recording of the protostar fragmentation process at once. In her spare time, Asta would sometimes consider how Madame Herta never seems to come around anymore after Asta arrived at the space station. She even made inquiries but was told, if there is no interesting new stuff, I won't bother coming on. I'd rather listen to this girl debate with you. She thought back to the words Herta had casually told her family on that day long ago. The Herta of her memories seems to stand out amongst resplendent starlight, giving her the power to control the starry night and her own destiny. So thanks to Herta's interest in Asta, Asta was able to become a lead researcher on the Herta space station, and Asta is also linked to Arlan, which is another character on the space station that does the security force. Asta also has this cute puppy that runs around on the space station. I think it's hers, I'm not 100% sure. What I do know is that she does care a lot about the little thing. Next character is Tingyun. Tingyun is from the Janzolofu. As you can see, she's one of the Foxians. Character details. A silver-tongued Foxian girl, Tingyun is the head representative of the Whistling Flames, a merchant guild officially approved by the Skyfaring Commission. She has such a way with words that often leaves her audience eagerly waiting for more of her captivating tales. As a result of her supervision, the Janzo trade fairs are now known throughout the cosmos. Try one's best to avoid conflict when possible and persuade those who can be persuaded. That's Tingyun's motto. Character story part 1. There's a saying, Foxians are born to do business. Linger a little while at the Sleepless Earl tea house and you'll come to appreciate this fact. There's something you don't know, says that Foxian woman, wafting her exquisite reticulated fan as she gazes at the skeptical man before her. Different lands raise their special type of life. If sand citrus seeds from the Bitterwater Confederacy are transplanted into the sacred soils of Von Wak, then they will grow into sweet oranges. This is naturally due to the fertile and balanced soils of Von Wak. And if the lightfish fry from Thalassa are introduced to my world and raised by the Vijayadhara at Skill Gorge Waterscape, they can double in size to over 3 feet long. The Whistling Flames' plan is to carefully select species with commercial potential and relay them via trade starships for safe transport. Within 1 month, you'll get the first batch of goods back. These goods will add to the glamours of the Crystal Palace at the bottom of the Thalassan Abyss and can even become a unique trading product for your nation. The man with gills blows out a few bubbles which represent a slightly hesitant agreement in his culture. Then his larynx pronounces some wondrous syllables. I thought the Whistling Flames were speculative traders involved in arbitrage. Are you planning to change the current situation of the logistics industry where the IPC reigns supreme? Tell me, how much do you want? For a return service, we take 90%. A broker just flips products from one hand to the other, or rather from one thin limb to the other. As the saying goes, real business talks, no profit. Only by benefiting others can we hope to benefit ourselves. As long as the Lord of the Abyss and the Crystal Palace ascends, then I'd like to enter into a permanent partnership. What do you say? On this day, Tingyun not only closed on a deal, but also formed a new friendship for the Alliance. So it seems like Tingyun was really important for the export and import of products for the Janzolofu. Character story part 2. Tingyun was always different from the others. Foxians are synonymous with the quick and the agile. Their lightning-fast reflexes and keen senses have resulted in this, and it also makes for cheeky, playful juvenile Foxians. But Tingyun, this pointy-eared girl, always looks fluffy and soft. Not only does she not vigorously pull on others' fur when meeting someone, she herself remains calm even if someone pulls on her fur. With an innocent smile and her sweet voice, she would even urge the other person to stop. It's not hard to understand differences in human nature, but compared to her Foxian peers, all busy tearing up their homes, Tingyun, who'd never been any good at combat, frustrated her parents, who both served in the military at the Skyfaring Commission. Seeing as Tingyun wouldn't inherit the family business, the two shook off their prejudices and let their daughter blossom freely. As a result, a dazzling new star of trade dawned aboard the Janzolofu. With her warm personality and talented skills, this Foxian girl successfully completed trade missions to 16 different planets and re-signed another bilateral agreement with the IPC. The famous Janzo Trade Bonanza, the Grand Fair, also developed into a famous fiesta under her advocacy. Since I don't have her leveled up, I'm going to need to read part 3 and 4 of the site. Part 3 goes as follows. Speaking of Tingyun's 6-ribbed reticulated fan, it is a well-known ingenium made by the Artisanship Commission. Most merchants carry weapons in self-defense while traveling, but Tingyun is an exception. She refuses to equip any weapons that do not conform to her style, such as blades, lances, swords, and halberds, which are strong but ungraceful, and she considers booby traps like darts and needles to be too toxic and disgraceful. After thinking over things, Tingyun finally chose this carved reticulated fan. Put into her own words, here's why. Business people cherish peace above all else. Carrying a weapon dishonors friendships and makes for bad business. My fan is different from a weapon. I can use it to cool myself off as well as cooling off a nasty business client. It's best if we can just have a nice chat, but if things don't go smoothly, then I just have to fan them harder and cool them off until they know I mean business. So even though she doesn't have the whole fighting thing her parents did, she is still a feisty one. Character story part 4 goes as follows. However, if she ever hopes to be promoted to Helm Master, Tingyun's gentle personality will shift from being a strength to the stumbling block. After all, the Skyfaring Commission has always been run by ace pilots, all of them warriors baptized by the flames of war. Meanwhile, Tingyun doesn't even have the knack for driving a starskiff, let alone a skill for killing. That's the main difference between her and the current Helm Master of the Skyfaring Commission, Yukong. What's more, Yukong has already planned on handing over the future to Tingyun, but Tingyun doesn't know if she's truly qualified to take it on. To her, Yukong is not merely a trustworthy superior or even a savior during a crisis. In her heart, Yukong is also a kind of glorious idol. She views Yukong as someone to entrust her spirits in, as a beacon to guide her. She wants to hold onto that starlight, but has discovered that she can only chase in desperation from the shadows until one day that lone star said to her, "Times are changing. Xianzhou is changing. One day this giant ship will grow utterly exhausted of a sky full of blood and war. When the time comes, the Skyfaring Commission will be your stage." She didn't know how much of what was said was a joke, but she carefully sealed those words into the envelope and locked it in the back of a drawer at her store. She resolved to never forget. Even if I can't go into battle, there's still a chance for me to show my strength, says the Foxian girl to herself. The Luofu is currently moored in orbit, undergoing reinvigoration after a campaign against the abominations. Flourishing commerce becomes the backdrop to this era. Understanding Yukong's expectations of her, Tingyun flies beyond the skies seeking more alliances and friendships. When it comes to who is the best Helm Master on the Luofu, people will naturally say Madame Yukong's the champion, but if you ask me, my skill for oratory must count for some kind of Helm Mastery, right? So even though Tingyun doesn't think that she's actually worthy of the place that Yukong wants to give her, Tingyun still wants to try and improve herself, which is honestly a really good thing to do. The next character is Yukong, that we're going to be reading about, which is the person that's right now ruling or in charge of the Xianzhou Luofu. Character story details. The Xianzhou Luofu's head of the Skyfaring Commission is gentle yet seasoned and authoritative. Having been a pilot since young, she had become the Commission's head with her outstanding combat achievements, yet she no longer flies due to a particular brutal battle. Now her shine had already dimmed as she shifted her focus to official duties, but she's always been guiding the course of the Luofu. Character story part 1. You know, only 3 kinds of people can work for the Skyfaring Commission: those who have the gift of gab, those who seek excitement, and those who crave to return to the stars. No exceptions. We are different from the Xianzhou natives with their unending lives. Even though Foxians are also considered a long-life species, our lives span only 3 centuries. Therefore, many of us are more passionate about enjoying the fun in life, chasing the best moments in life with all our heart and soul. Me? I'm currently 246 years old. I am 1 step into my grave and have long gone past my days of merriment. You might know of my decisive and dashing ways, but when I was younger. In the tales of older Xianzhou natives, you might even hear of my achievements, such as running 6 consecutive red lights. I didn't know that was an achievement. Do not do this in real life, people. It's a bad thing to run the red light. I'd just become an adult back then, and I was dragged in front of the general for the infringement. Guess what happened? The general wanted me to join the Skyfaring Commission purely because of my piloting prowess, and he thought it was going to make it big in the Skyfaring Commission. Back then, he used to call me the delinquent girl. Later on, they all called me Ace. Character story part 2. Old decrepits are useless like torn strips of clothes hanging on a wooden stick. Years ago, I heard an old poem not from here. Its structure, rhyme, and form were different from Janzo's poems. I don't like it, but this particular sentence stayed with me, like a ghost I could not chase away. I've witnessed how otherworlders age, now their skin sag, their muscles shrink, how their brains degenerate irreversibly, how their bones weaken and their eyes cloud over. I can understand their envy towards us. I used to think that same way, but we will never grow old, that we will maintain the same appearance of youth. Every time we head for a battle, I always promise my comrades, you just worry about holding onto your weapon. I'll bring you back to Janzo. But I broke my promise. After that fateful battle, only I returned to the Skyfaring Commission, dragging my own damaged body. I can never return. I understood that then. From then on, I tunnel-visioned on official documents, abandoning any dream of returning to the sky. I grew old. So it seems like during one battle, she lost everybody and everything she had, and since then has been traumatized by the experience, not sure if she wants to go back to battle, to using a star skiff. Character story part 3. The plot in this story is just the opposite of Janzo's natives like yourself. The story came from beyond Janzo. The story tells of a young man who made a deal with a deity. He wished to be immortal, to be deathless. The deity granted his wish. He would never die, but his body would continuously weaken and wither eternally. He would carry the burden and sufferance of old age of perpetuity. This was all because he dared to dream about an unchanging flesh. At the end of the story, the old man who told me the story expressed the sentiments above. Perhaps, to outworlders, the Janzo ships are dreamboats of bliss that traverse the ocean of stars, where people will spend their everlasting lifespan in enjoyment of sublime happiness, never knowing the pains of separation, aging, and death. In my opinion, that was not the case. Janzo natives are precisely experiencing an eternal deterioration. Sure, I am as energetic as I was when I was 50 years old. I can drive a star skiff through a valley no wider than 2 yards. I can dance continuously for hours, and I can sing. You may find this difficult to believe, but I can sing better than many of the performing artists in the exalting sanctum. Unfortunately, I will not do any of those things again. I do not want to do any of them, as they bring me no enjoyment. Not many things do. Not anymore. This is our deterioration. This is the deterioration of all Janzo natives. So it seems like with old age, as it happens with humans as well, with us, over time when we keep doing the same thing, we will need a bigger and bigger lasting effect, I guess. I think you can see that a little bit with watching, for example, horror movies. When you watch them the first few times, you'll be like, oh no, jump scare. But the more you watch them, the more you seem to get immune to those jump scares and be able to tell like, oh yeah, there's one coming, and then not react to it anymore, and you need to watch a different type of horror movie to actually get the same scare again. I have it a little bit, but I usually do try to immerse myself into the game instead of just try and be neutral and, a bit distant from the game. That's why if I stream a horror game and I react in a certain way, it's actually me living myself into the game. Me actually trying to experience it like it should. But sometimes when I'm really tired, you'll also notice that not everything has the same effect on me as when I actually am awake. Being sleepy changes how you react to things, also changes the speed at how you react to things. So when you are tired, please do not drive. If you have anything that helps you stay awake, like a coffee, please drink a coffee before you drive. If need be, take a mug, like one of those mugs that keeps things warm. Take one of those along, put it on your side, the cup holders. If you feel that you're starting to become tired, please drink the coffee a little bit so you stay awake. The last part, character story part 4. Kites are mementos of fallen pilots. Take good care of them. Let them take off once more in place of those pilots who cannot return to the sky. When I crawled out of the burning wreckage of the star skiff, I saw the sky of that bloodless and emotionless planet, untainted by an atmosphere. It was the most beautiful sky I have ever seen, but all I could feel was unbearable sadness. I could only creep on the earth like a blasted ant, staring at it with bated breath. In my dream, that was the day I died. I think about it a lot. I think about the past. I have seen dead suns. I have seen sentient planets. I've seen the rainbow Arbiter's luck's arrow. I have seen too much. I have seen too many stars. I have seen the demise of too many lives. I have seen the birth of too many people. I have seen too much. I'm getting old. I think I'm getting old. I will die. My wings are broken. I can't go back. I think I'm old. I can't go back. I think I'll die. My wings are broken. I can't fly. I'm like an ant. I don't think I can fly. I think my wings are broken. I want to go back. I want to go back to the sky. I want to go back. I want to go back to the sky. I want to go back. I awoke from the dream. I want to go back. I want to go back. I want to go back. I need to go back. The sky belongs to me. I crave to return to the skies. I will complete the final flight of my life. So it seems that the incident where she was the only one to return alive actually left her with nightmares about it. It's very scary to think that it just keeps repeating itself in your head over and over, that you want to go but you just can't. That was Asta, Tingyun and Yukong. It seems like Yukong still has a lot of trauma that she needs to work through, but since she's so busy probably with running the Janzolofe, she doesn't have the time or doesn't want to show the weakness of going to counseling. If you're a person that needs it though, and you need someone to talk to, you should. Do not keep it in. It will only make things faster and will only make the nightmares worse. Next week, I'll be reading Hanya, Ronmei, and Sparkle. I'm also going to look into Tribi and the new character that got released. I think he's the Hunt? No. I don't exactly know what he belongs to. There he is. My Day. I don't own him. I'm also not going to roll for him. I want to save up for the Butterfly Girl. If you played the story, you'll immediately understand who I mean. But yeah, see you next week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, when you're tired, do not drive. If you need anyone to talk to, please do that as well. Don't let things fester and make sure that you stay healthy, guys. I hope you guys have a nice day, nice morning, nice evening, nice night. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!